What's up, guys? Welcome back to Sitting Courtside, episode 67. We getting up there a little bit. We getting up there.
But going up,
of course, it's
baby.
your boy Jerry D here.
And it's your boy Dante, excited, ready to go. Episode 67, packed, jam-packed, Jerry, ready to go.
Yeah, jam-packed. We're going to keep it short and simple at the same time, though. And we're fresh off of Tuesday night basketball. We record on Wednesdays here. We'll give this to you guys on Friday, hopefully. But from what we watched last night in the NBA Cup, where the Milwaukee Bucks defeated the Oklahoma City Thunder 97-81, it gave this old school, grinded out, muck it up game where neither team broke 100. And for the longest, OKC didn't even pass 80. They were stuck at 78 for like 2 minutes or whatever it was.
Defense was on full force last night. Everyone was on their A game.
And it was great. Like Doc Rivers and I believe Mark Dagenhalt even said, like, that's the emphasis. And all week, well, the last 3 days leading up to the NBA Cup final, all that was being preached was OKC's defense. They do this, they do that. Well, they couldn't stop Giannis, who finished with 26, 19, and 10. Monster triple-double.
Crazy.
Damian Lillard finished with 23 points, 5 for 10 from 3. But crazy part about it is I didn't put it here in the rundown. He only took 12 shots, which is like...
It's efficient. I don't think he's... or Giannis, I was going to say. I don't think Giannis has had a game this year where he shot under 50% too. Like both of these guys. I mean, they're both having phenomenal years for Milwaukee. Once they started to get it going, like...
They clicked.
They're clicking now.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I think the game plan, you can tell watching the game that it was to take Dame and Giannis out of it, to force them to be playmakers, but Taurean Prince stepped up to hit some big shots. Gary Trent Jr. got going. Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez hitting around from the outside. And this is without Chris Middleton, who was out with the flu. So
flu game. Could have had a flu game, but decided to not play.
The Bucks did their thing. We'll dive into the OKC side of things later, but let's just talk about what we're seeing from Milwaukee. Obviously, this game doesn't count, the NBA Cup final game, which is like, oh, wow. But they look good. I think they won 4 straight games outside of this. So how do you feel about the Bucks compared to how we were talking about them earlier on this season?
They look a lot better. Like we said, they clicked. Whether it was, I know Chris Middleton came back from injury and stuff, but they started to get things rolling even before he came back. They're 14-11 now. 5th in the East. I mean, we both kind of talked how this is a team that isn't meant to be on the outskirts of the playoffs. This isn't a play-in team. If you got Giannis Antetokounmpo and even at Damian Lillard's mid-30s age, like there's no excuse to not be a playoff team. You still are better than a lot of these teams in the East, besides a few, obviously. And obviously there's a lot of questions on coaching. Doc Rivers, Darvin Ham is undefeated in the NBA Cup. There's your trivia question of the week.
I wish I don't really care, but yeah, you're right. That's shout out to Darv.
Hey, he has an undefeated record. Whichever way you want to look at it, he does. But yeah, no, I mean, Milwaukee's looking good. Giannis is, I mean, at this point, I think I really think the only player, maybe 2 players I put ahead of him in the MVP race are Jokic and SGA. But after last night, SGA didn't have, I mean, it was the worst game he's had this season. It's just one game. But I mean, after last night, I think in the run they've been on, the triple doubles and everything, I think Giannis has earned his spot as second in the MVP race. I don't know if he'll catch up to Jokic. I think that will maybe come down to team record and where we stand there. But yeah, man, I mean, they're looking good. They're looking like a solid team right now. And I'm curious. I'm interested to see how they play moving forward when they do play continue to play more top teams and stuff like that. Like, how are they going to look against the top teams moving forward compared to how they did when the season started, all that stuff. But yeah. They're trending in the right direction.
Yeah. I think it's important to note too, that we were pretty harsh on Milwaukee and rightfully so.
Big time.
I think everyone had to be because this still has...
They had a shitty start. They had a terrible start to the season.
2-8 or whatever.
Yeah, it's inexcusable.
So I'm definitely on the ship that I buy Giannis as the best player in the world, to where obviously he can impact the game in different ways. Obviously Jokic can as well, but Giannis is just, no pun intended, but this dude is a freak of nature.
He is the most dominant player in the NBA by a little bit.
By a little bit.
By maybe a lot of it. I would say I still got to keep Jokic in that conversation.
Jokic is dominant for sure, but there's just
something about Giannis.
Two-way dominance makes you a more dominant player by a mile.
Yeah,
I'm always damn, excuse me. I'm always going to take that a little, just a notch above. But there's a debate to be made about Giannis and his performance. But now, shout out to the Bucks for fixing it, though, man. I think this could put them back in position to get back into this top four in the East. I know the Magic missed out on Franz Wagner with the torn obliques, and then the Knicks are starting to kind of find their rhythm. Maybe the Magic could fall out. Maybe the Bucks go back in. Like there's a lot that could happen. Boston and Cleveland, those guys are looking down.
I think they're a little untouchable at this point. We know who the top two seeds are going to be in the East.
Yeah, I think they broke enough space to where the Bucks are going to have to go on a crazy win streak just to hope to even be.
It could happen. It could happen. It's a long
could.
season still, but at this point they're on the outside still looking.
3 seed max, you know, that I think
which is fine.
Yeah,
that's still home court first round. So
yeah, but you got to play the 2 seed potentially, which could be Boston and or Cleveland, which is
2 places you don't want to play at.
Nah, but either way, I feel good about where the Bucks are heading now. That we could throw them back into this Eastern Conference playoff picture to where they could compete for something again. Now, I'm more confident in saying that now. Like that's great. I love that for Giannis. I love that for Dame to what could be a last dance kind of year.
I was going to say, so one question I have for you is, do you think this changes anything as far as, let's say the season ends, Bucks don't win a championship. You can say they lose in the first round, second round, whatever. If they don't win this year, do you think your stance on if Giannis is out? No, still
I think he's still gone. I think it's championship or bust for players of this magnitude. Like,
and he just turned 30. He's young. He's in his prime, but he's not getting any younger.
And LeBron was around 28, 29-ish whenever he left Cleveland to go to Miami. So I'm kind of like, you still got to win something. Obviously, Giannis won in Milwaukee, and the story is different for him than it is for LeBron. But he's still expected to win more since the expectation that I just put on him again, where I think there's a vote for him to be the best player in the game.
We consider him one of the best power forwards of all time. The only power forward ahead of him maybe is Dirk at this point. It's like, and if we pose someone to that light, I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying it, but like some people do consider him. Here, I don't know why I said Dirk. I think I meant to say Tim Duncan.
Yeah, I was a little confused. I was like, what?
I definitely meant to say Tim Duncan. Regardless, some people classify Giannis in that top tier of power forwards, right? Yeah. Some of the best power forwards of all time. But the accolades, KG only had one. Dirk only has one. But how dominant he is and how big of a presence he is in the NBA today, you expect someone like that to finish with more accolades and guys like Dirk and KG, right?
More chips, man. I need for somebody like this, I need at least 2 more. Like, you know, that's how I'm looking at Giannis in his career. So
I think that's a reasonable expectation for someone as important to the NBA today and as dominant as he is, for sure.
But enough about Milwaukee and the championship winners. Let's talk about the losers.
The runner-ups.
Who honestly looked terrible. Like, I got the numbers put up here.
It wasn't their best game.
It was not. It was their lowest point totals this season with 81. I know the game doesn't count, but still, 81 points were put out. Season lows in field goal percentage and 3-point field goal percentage at 33.7 and 15.6. Like, they hit like 4 threes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
They hit like 2 of them.
Shea hit 2 of them. He's not a 3-point shooter. He shot 9 threes last night. I don't know how many 3-point attempts he has this game, but I feel like that's a lot for him. Yeah. Just you know, it's you can say it's the magnitude of the NBA Cup being in Vegas and stuff, where it's just a bad game. You know, teams have bad games. In this case, it just so happened to be the finals of the NBA Cup. What I will say, and I'm not by any means trying to discredit the NBA Cup or what the NBA is trying to do with this, because I appreciate them attempting to do something like this and, you know, creating more buzz around the NBA and everything. But I don't think the Thunder's players lost any sleep last night by losing the game. I don't, you know what? At the end of the day, it's a mid-season tournament. If this was, of course, they lost in the NBA Finals. Yeah, that's the one thing. But like, we're not going to be looking back at Shai Gilgeous' career and be like, yeah, but he didn't win the Thunder that NBA Cup in his 26-year-old season. Like, we're going to hold that against him. Like, listen, they walked away with $200K. They move on to the next game. They play Boston on Sunday. That's a big game that they're probably, you know, going to be focusing on. But yeah, I mean, shit happens. It's just a game for them during the regular season, and you move on. I still think that they are great. They're in great shape to finish top of the West and everything. So their loss last night doesn't change my thoughts on them at all.
No, like, this, when people ask the question, is this a bad game or a bad sign? This is literally
It's a
the
bad
definition
game.
of a bad game.
It's a bad game. Yeah.
Again,
it happens.
This doesn't count for one. I think if anything, what it really showed me is that, I don't think they could guard like a mobile big right now. With Chet Holmgren out, like, I get Chet's not the biggest dude, but having a roaming shot blocker around while Giannis was out there would have been something that I would like, wow, a good weak side defender to at least put some more pressure on Giannis to not just
change up their game plan a little bit.
Yeah, because they loaded up on them. Again, they made them playmakers the entire game. When they got to their spots, they sent double teams because obviously there's been a ton of tape out on Giannis over the last X amount of years, right? So you know how to play against this dude and form your wall in certain spots where he likes to attack.
Form a fucking wall.
Yeah. And not having a shot blocker, it hurts.
Yeah.
So that's where that's like the only takeaway is like, well, maybe you guys, when you play against an Anthony Davis out west, or obviously Nikola Jokic, might not be as mobile, but is obviously Nikola Jokic, or bigs of that type of caliber. Maybe there's some chinks in the OKC defense there, but those perimeter centric teams that play smaller, which is the blueprint for most of the NBA, they excel against, and that's to be expected. They don't play. I get Hartenstein's there as the center, but not really a traditional shot blocker kind of guy.
Right.
So
that's someone you can count on to do that for your defense.
Yeah, like that's literally the only like little nugget I took from the game. It's like, wow, okay, so this still is your problem. Like you guys can't guard this superstar kind of bigs. So maybe, hopefully, they get Chet back and they could shore some of those things up. But just my little takeaway from that game.
Yeah, I think it's fair to kind of pick apart something like that and being like, okay, like I said, they're not losing sleep over their loss last night, but they can look at that and be like, okay, like we still have certain weaknesses. Maybe the front office looks at that. Like Chet's out. I don't know even what his timeline is. I don't know when he's expected to be back, but
still a few weeks away.
Trade deadline's 2 months away. So, maybe they could look into, what they have in their treasure chest of draft picks and stuff like that. Maybe they go out and get someone to fill that hole or whatever. But yeah, no, I just going back to it. I mean, I think they still look good no matter what. They do have like that blueprint they're following of, what it takes to win in the NBA nowadays. They're going to run into those exceptions, those superstars. Yeah. You deal with it when you deal with it. If you get upgrades, you get upgrades. But at the end of the day, Thunder is still number one in the West. I think they're going to continue to be number one in the West. And congrats to Milwaukee. I think it's a good win for them. I think it's a good confidence boost for Milwaukee too.
Yeah, plummets them back into the regular season with the attitude of like, we really can't beat anybody, and we could be the best team, and yada yada. So, 100%. Shout out to them, man.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to from one NBA event to another one in a couple months here around trade deadline. Actually, the NBA All-Star format was dropped out, and Dante doesn't like it. I'm sure players don't like it, including Kevin Durant, which we will get to. But
I always knew me and Kevin Durant were one and the same.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Nah. We both got Twitter fingers.
Yeah, like, I mean, let me see your burner accounts. How many you got? Like, there's a lot of questions I have for you.
What burner account? I'm
going to read off all this nonsense either way. We'll have it up on screen for everybody to see. But, yeah, so here's the bullshit that we're getting into this February. So 3 teams of NBA All-Stars, 8 per team, and a Rising Stars champ team that wins the championship game between the Rising Stars or whatever, will be the 4th team. So it's 4 total teams comprised of 24 total All-Stars and 8 rookie to sophomore players.
That no one knows.
Well, Wembanyama, Brandon Miller,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess those, I guess.
Players like that. And then, younger, whatever. Anyway, each game will have a target score of 40 points. 3 total games will be played. 2 teams play one another. 2 teams play one, blah, blah, blah. Another team play, and then they play a championship game. And each per player, the champions get $125,000 for first, second place $50K, third and fourth place $25. Yeah, your thoughts? I don't really care about it. Me personally, I don't give a shit about this. This is terrible, but please, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
I said this earlier, where I appreciate the NBA adding
Being
something like a
innovative.
mid-season tournament, trying to do things different. Adam Silver knows the All-Star game has been ass the last few years, and he he's trying his best. But I don't know who came up with this idea. This is some hot ass garbage. I see. I'm okay. So I would classify myself as more of a traditionalist in the sense of like, I'm not opposed to change, but I don't like too much change where it's like you're straying too far from what the game has been built around. And one of those things for me is All-Star game, East versus West. The issue with that is how lopsided it's become. Well, the West is more stacked than the Eastern Conference. So, of course, the West is going to be the favorites. But at the end of the day, it's like, what other logical solution is there? You could do the whole picking teams thing, like, the captains draft teams, and like you tried that. That didn't work. Now you're trying, you tried going to reaching point totals, and that was cool for the first year because it was kind of like, it was like a Kobe tribute thing, and it was like they made a big deal out of it. But after that first year, people really stopped caring about it, and now they're doing this, and like,
it's something.
I want to know. I think Steph Curry was involved in like the process of it and stuff like that, but they need to do like a vote or so. I don't know how true that is. I hope it's not.
I was like, wow, was he?
They
He
need
came up
to.
with this
I
shit?
thought I read something that he was a part of putting something. I could be something completely different, but something like this, I feel like you need to have like player votes, or you need to have opinions from the players because like Kevin Durant came out and said that this is shit. He said that they should go back East versus West, which I agree with. I don't know. Like the whole bringing in the fourth team here, that's just to get Wembanyama in there. That's all that is. Because who in this rookie class? No,
he could be an all-star.
Like, he could be an all-star. Okay, that makes it worse then. That makes it worse for those 8 people because last year's draft led by Wembanyama short. We talk about how this year we didn't even know who the first overall pick was. I didn't know who he was going into it. So it's like you have I'm not trying to shit on these guys, but it's like this year's draft. It's like it's a weekend draft. We talked about how this is one of the worst drafts in history. Now you're making an all-star game revolving around these guys potentially going up against the NBA's best players. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's a good product personally. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope when February comes around, we put this on, and maybe if I put it on, I didn't watch the All-Star game last year, to be honest with you. I was not interested at all. And it's unfortunate but the NBA has done that between the dunk contest, the All-Star game, like they've turned it into shit. And it's like, I want to support the product. I want to give it a chance, and I am, but like, I don't have faith in this, man. I don't think they're going down the right direction with this. Like, again, I appreciate the idea, but like,
I'm not mad.
I don't think this is it. I don't think this is it.
I get you, man. Like this seems like a reach, to where we need to keep trying things because viewership is down, and we saw this for the last 3 years now, right? Mm-hmm. NBA viewership has been dwindling down for the last 5 years.
You look at the NBA Cup last night, all the empty seats in Vegas and stuff like that too.
Like I think this is really just another attempt. Again, you mentioned it. People have complained about the All-Star game not being competitive enough. People just kind of giving people easy buckets, open lanes, whatever it might be, to where it's not what we saw back in the early 2000s, which is probably the peak of it now. Like looking back at it, that like we really watched the golden age of All-Star game basketball. So, I think it really does start with the players taking it. I don't even think it has anything to do with the format or,
players don't have a great attitude. Don't have the best attitude towards it either, especially when they're not playing defense.
Because it's supposed to be a vacation anyway. So they come in. I think the mindset and mentality is that we're going to come in, we're going to play, we're going to have fun, but we're not really going to.
Because that's like their vacation time too. Because they have a week off.
We're not trying to get hurt in the middle of an All-Star game trying to play aggressively. Like,
hey, that's what happened with Kemba Walker years ago in the Celtics. He had a knee injury. He played through the All-Star game, and then his knee flared up, and the rest of his career was a wrap.
See, that was just. I don't want to. I've learned to actually have a few conversations with Kemba over the last few weeks. I'm not trying to step on him here, but that was his fault.
I'm not blaming anyone else that he should have known. You know better at that point.
Should have sat down.
Yeah.
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 The thing is, even if you don't play an All-Star game as an injury replacement, you still get the badge of honor in your name that I was a 3-time or a 2-time All-Star. You
That's all
still
you
would have
need.
got it.
That's all you need. Yeah. I mean, I think about, again, like what they can do. There needs to be an incentive. Like there's cash prizes here, right? But like $125,000 for someone like LeBron doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. So I've said this for so long, and the MLB used to do this, and it's just it's a simple concept, but I think it's something that motivates players. Whatever side wins, if you do East versus West, whatever conference wins gets home court advantage in the finals. That's
Yeah.
what the incentive should be. That's what it was in the MLB All-Star game, where whatever team won, they got home field advantage. By
I
doing
wouldn't
that,
be. That definitely gives off a lot more incentive for the players to actually go play.
mm-hmm.
But for the guys like, shout out LaMelo Ball here, for if he is an All-Star in February, that doesn't mean anything to him. So that doesn't incentivize certain
Sure.
teams or certain players.
But
it's like, well, I could roll out there and do the same thing. I'm not getting to the stage anyway.
sure, that's true. But let's say like an eighth seed, I'll just use the Hornets as an example. Okay, let's say the Hornets slip into the playoffs. Injuries get thrown in front of them. They make their way through. Guess what? They make the finals against a top 4 seed, but they got home court advantage. Am I going to say they're going to win that matchup? No, but I'm saying that now, like a team like that, a lower end team can be like, okay, now we have a little bit of an advantage here. Like, yeah, they're better than us, but like we're home court. Like we got the advantage there. We have the 6th men. But yeah, I'm not saying that's the overall solution to it, but it's like things like that. I think adding incentives like that will drive players to at least be more motivated to win.
We could both agree there because I think at the end of the day, like I said, it's all about the player. These new formats that they're bringing up, like being innovative with everything else, I get it. Like you said, you're a traditionalist, so am I. And I think the NBA Cup thing being added in doesn't bother me because, hey, you created high leverage situation to where you have to win a certain X amount of games to qualify for the tournament. And you have to win your way through a single elimination tournament to win a prize at the end, which is obviously a medal and another trophy and some extra bread. Like, I can get with that. That's very, like, problem solution. This is dope. You're struggling with viewership. Let's try to start something in the middle of the season where there's no football, NFL games or college football games on to where we can go ahead and put this on a Tuesday and see what we can do. Dope. But trying to do something like this where you're changing the formats of the actual game that's been played forever now for the last X amount of years, I don't care. Like if I'm going to go there and cover, I'm going to be in the building in the Bay Area. It's going to be dope. I'm going to have a good time. But when I watch it live, I'm probably just going to be like, just like I was last year. I was like, well, this is kind of whatever.
Yeah, that's just the state of it. And like the NBA has generated so much money, and with all these new TV deals and stuff, incentivize players a little bit more. I know we talk about money and stuff. Dunk contest, for example. You want stars in there? You want Zion Williamson in there? Healthy Zion Williamson in there? Give him $1 million. Give him $1 million. Be like, just go in there because that will help ratings. That helps ratings. You need to feed these players something. And the NBA is just like a monopoly. They have so much money and stuff. They have so many resources. Do something with it.
I mean, look, per player, the winners get $125,000 per player. Like,
great for the younger guys, the guys that don't make much money and stuff like that.
The thing is, though,
it's an all-star game, though, so it's like all these guys are probably making already.
I'm just making, the only point I'm making is that each player that means 8 guys get 125. And I'm not that great at math, but that's well over $1 million. They just chopped it up, and 8 players get this, and the other 8 get 50K. Like, I'm only saying this because, like, dude, you can give a lot more money.
100%.
Sure. But it's like, nah, well, we just gave 500K to the Bucks, all the Bucks players for winning. So come to the All-Star game. No, dude, this is a $1 billion corporation. They can do whatever they want. But I don't know.
It's a shame.
We could talk about this all day.
We could.
For the sake of time.
I'm sick of it.
Yeah. Like, I don't even want to talk about this shit anymore. KD hates it. KD wants to go back traditional, just like how me and Dante do. You guys let us know in the comments what you want because I don't want to see bullshit product out there on the floor in February anymore. It's cold enough as it is. Let me at least watch something fun.
I'm with you. I am with you. All right. Let's
Anyway.
move on to the best topic of the show here. The hottest topic of the show.
Wow. Yeah, I guess it is, huh? Anyway, Dennis Schroeder
Not.
got traded to the Golden State Warriors, man.
Yeah.
It's
71
it's
in the
yeah, it's
Bay.
yeah,
Finished the
man.
rainbow.
Yes. I mean, it was kind of completed before he got.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it really kind of was. But just another jersey to the collection.
But I kind of like the move to some degree, but I'm also kind of like, this is weird. It feels like the same thing that they did when they signed Chris Paul or traded for Chris Paul last year. Was like, hey, we're gonna get another guard in the backcourt with Steph to put Steph off ball because he's already an off ball player anyway. And we got Draymond as a point guard, and I bet you the Warriors are like, yeah, we nailed this. We did this thing.
We stole him. We stole him from Brooklyn.
And shout out to Brooklyn, man. Like they got fleeced. Like they didn't even give up. They didn't get a first round pick for Dennis Schroeder, who's having a career year, 18 points, 6 assists.
The Nets sneaky in the West, East rankings for playoffs and stuff too.
Yeah, like I would have loved to at least get a first round pick off of them. Instead, they got DeAnthony Melton, who's out for the season with a torn ACL.
Yep,
and 3 second-round picks. So the Nets. Question mark. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know if Dennis Schroeder was really gonna. I don't know if a first round pick was his value. I mean, maybe if they, looked around other teams and stuff, another contender could have coughed it up. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like Brooklyn Nets, their vision is Cooper Flag. So as long as they get Dennis Schroeder out of there and they got something for him, they're not losing sleep over it.
Dennis was ruining the tank.
He was playing. He had a very good start to the season for them. As far as the Warriors go, I mean, you get a good piece, a bench piece, or potentially a starter if you want to plug him in. You got a starter. He's not a needle mover. You know what I mean? He's not someone that takes them to the next level. I think that he can provide some help. I think he can provide that assistance to what you said, like getting Steph off the ball more, getting another playmaker involved, whatever. But, they're 14-11, 7th in the West now. They kind of took a dip down the Western Conference rankings. I don't know if this is a move that kind of can put them back up there. I definitely think this is a team that needs to make at least another move if they want to compete at the top of the Western Conference. I don't think this is a bad move by any means. But they're in a 4-way tie right now. They're actually tied for the 6th seed in the West. Only 3 games behind the Grizzlies for number 2 and 6 games behind our 6.5 for the Thunder. But Dennis Schroeder's a good player. I'm not trying to undermine him and what he can do, but I didn't look at this trade and being like, oh wow, that's a good move for them. It does something, but it's not
a little step up. It's not.
Yeah, they definitely didn't take a step down. For sure. No. If they're here, they probably that's how much better I think they got. Well, they got better. They got better.
For the Warriors, hey, they definitely they won the trade. They traded away a guy that was out for the season.
Yeah, they won the trade at the end of the day. Yeah,
they traded a guy that's gonna miss the whole year for a productive player that's gonna be available and possibly take some pressure off of Steph Curry. But the Warriors' main goal, and they said it. We keep seeing the reports from Shams and all these other insiders that, hey, they're still in the hunt for an all-star caliber player.
Yes, they are. Mm-hmm.
Let's go get him. Like, I want to see it. Like
Dennis Schroeder isn't that all-star player, so they got to have something else in their back pocket.
They've got to. Like Mike Dunleavy is probably loading up the pistol to take a shot at another guy. Well, maybe I shouldn't use those choice of words.
He's gonna take a shot at a player.
But
you're coming to Golden State, or I'm fucking shooting you.
Let's throw a dart at the next possible
sure.
all-star caliber player. I don't know who that is. Is it Zach LaVine? Are they going to try to get Michael Porter Jr. Maybe?
Jimmy Butler?
Like,
yep.
There's a bunch of names out there, and we're yet to see Golden State actually hit their mark. So Steph needs help. Steph is trying to pass LeBron, get that fifth championship, make conversations about the GOAT and all that interesting, how it can't be LeBron. I'm sure Steph's sexuals will get on. But that should be interesting.
Should be. Now, we talked about next star, like them going after a star player, all-star level player. First trade happened, trade deadline a few months away. A lot of players became eligible to be traded now. who do you think would be the next, I won't say star player, but we'll say all-star level player or higher to get traded? Because we mentioned Jimmy Butler, who kind of seems like he's on the outskirts of Miami. That seemed like it happened very quickly.
Yeah.
I think the Warriors are one of the teams interested, or he's interested in going to Golden State. We mentioned Zach LaVine. Giannis was another name that was being mentioned, but Shams said afterwards that
That's not happening.
it's not happening this season at least. So who do you think would be the next guy traded? It doesn't have to be like Golden State or anything like that, but if you see a big name player getting traded next, who do you see it being?
I feel like it might be Zach LaVine. I think that's not exactly the biggest name, but it's a productive scorer, a guy that can give
he was an all-star.
Yeah, he can
Was
give
an
you 20.
all-star.
Could put up 20 in a heartbeat. Good three-point shooter. Not really your best defender. You're not thinking about him as a two-way player, but definitely a guy that could carry the offense in spurts for a team like Denver. If they're looking to get another spark and maybe replace MPJ because maybe he gets expensive when they try to pay him or whatever that might be. I could see some moves being made where LaVine's on somebody's radar. Like, I don't personally, just because you mentioned his name a few times, I don't really think Jimmy Butler is gonna be moved. Like, just think about it. He's 35 years old, and I'm gonna have to give up assets for a guy with an expiring contract, to where I don't even know what he has left in. Like, he's playing great. He put up like 35 and 15 or something like that. Like, he's having a solid year, and he shows it in spurts. Like, I'm still Jimmy Butler, and I can turn it on when I really want to. And obviously, for the leadership purposes and still being an all-around defender, he's dope. But do you want to give up assets for a 35-year-old? Like, the NBA is different.
Free agency.
Yeah, like I might just stake out and then give him a 1 year, a 1+1, a year and a player option, and kind of let him figure it out instead. I don't know. If Miami could trade him, that's great for them. They could kind of see what their future looks like. But if I'm other teams, unless I'm Golden State's probably the only one I expect to make a move, just because they're trying to get Steph and maximize the championship window for a fifth title. But everybody else, I'm kind of like, got a lot of question marks over. But what about you? Like, who do you think could be moved here?
I mean, Zach LaVine's name has been in trade rumors for God knows how many years now. So, I mean, he's an easy one to throw. I'm actually going to say his teammate. I'm going to say Nikola Vucevic, because that's the name that's kind of been thrown around a little bit. And I know we talked about the Bulls before and how they just need to blow it up. Lonzo Ball has been, in trade rumors now. So I do think that the Bulls are now going to commit to a rebuild if they're able to send these guys off. I can see a team going after someone like Vucevic, because I still think he can provide a lot. I don't think he is the all-star that he once was, but I still think he can provide you with like at least 15 and close to 10 rebounds a game.
He's leading the centers in three-pointers made this season.
And I was going to say, and he's figured out his three-point shot. He was very good at stretching the floor, which can be valuable to some teams. So I can see him being the first, getting traded before LaVine. I can see LaVine getting moved very soon as well.
Vucevic probably has more value.
I think he does, because less of an injury history too, and everything too. I think he's a little bit more reliable. You know what you're getting out of him on a nightly basis. So I'll go Vucevic. Whoever trades for him, I don't know, but I think he should be a player that contenders and other teams should be eyeing.
I just love the fact we're both agreeing that the Bulls need to blow this shit up. Get the hell out of here. Let's go ahead and trade everybody.
We've been on this wave for the last 2 years, brother. It's better late than never, I guess. But
have a fire sale.
Have a fire sale. That's right.
What? That's all we got, man. That's
all we got. That's the episode. Do you have anything else you want to add in before we sign off?
All-Star voting starts on December 19th. The podcast will already come out before. Well, the podcast will come out after the official day.
We film before the voting starts.
I just want to let people know that do watch this. Don't put any stupid ass names in this shit.
No Zaza Pachulia.
No Pachulias. No Austin Reeves. No, I'm tired of seeing that.
They will. You know there will.
I know they will, because there's fucking toddlers voting for this shit, and it pisses me off every single year. Taco Fall, like, dude, come on, man. Let's just be mature. And shout out to Michael Penix, who will make his first NFL start this Sunday. And that's all I got.
The Michael Penis Jr. era has started in Atlanta.
Oh my gosh.
Good on them. Yeah, they Kirk Cousins tears his Achilles, and fucking 100 days later, they give this man a $160 million contract, whatever the
80.
fuck it was.
180.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you are not already subscribed to this channel. Put in the comments your thoughts on the All-Star Game format, the NBA Cup, who you believe the next NBA All-Star level player is to be traded. If you want to listen to us on audio-only platforms or are listening on audio platforms, thank you. Please make sure you give us a 5-star rating, review, all that good stuff. Follow us on all of our socials. You know where to find us. And until next week, episode 68. Peace out.
Shubba. Big Penix energy. Remember